What's up? Sober Dad Runs day 348. It is 3 full days removed from me running my first ever ultra marathon. Just got kind of caught back up in life, no rest for the weary. The day after the race, we had kids' birthday parties. We had to get home, grocery shop, get ready for the week, and then right back at it, right back to work. Crazy time at work right now. It's super busy, so no days off, no rest. I just got back from a Teddy walk, so that's why I'm reporting live from the home garage gym. So been right back on my feet walking. Hope to get back out to running tomorrow. Feel pretty good. My legs and soreness and everything are pretty much going away. Still some general soreness. My left big toe is pretty banged up, but I've been icing it and doing all them remedies. But all in all, it's pretty awesome. The race was an epic day. If you saw any of my other videos, it was a battle. Never gone over the half marathon distance, and then going right into a 50K, right into the ultra spear, was a big jump, but I was ready for it. I thought, I don't do quote unquote normal training blocks because I run every day as a part of my journey in sobriety. So my weekly averages were pretty good, pretty close to, peak weeks and how a ultra distance, especially just at the 50K distance miles, were stacking up anyway. So I felt pretty good cardio wise and legs, being able to hold up, from general fatigue wise. The biggest thing going into the race I was really nervous about was just strategy for hydration and fueling mid-race, before race. Never really going that distance, and in the half marathon distance, you don't really need to do that much, I don't think prep. You can kind of carbo load and watch what you eat a day or so before, but you never really break into that lactic threshold doing that half marathon distance. I mean, I may do because my half marathon's not that fast, but so I was nervous about that, but did the research and came up with a pretty good plan, and that went accordingly. I felt good. I started carbo loading the Wednesday before, just getting in all those healthy carbs, whole grains, sweet potatoes, quinoa, fruit. Just ate real good and loaded up, so I felt good going into the race. I did my typical race day, morning prep, coffee, fueling with BPN, GM1 Sport, and electrolytes. Your bananas and peanut butter on toast with honey. So, I felt good there with the plan I had for nutrition, hydration during the race. I had bought the Solomon Hydra Pack, which is just hanging and drying behind me. So that was cool. I had the 220-ounce soft flask. Pretty much filled up with G1M Sport. And I had a plan to fuel during the race with, chewable gummies and applesauce pouches. So, I felt pretty good. And during the race, I implemented the strategy pretty well, I thought. The first half of the race went awesome. Of course, like the atmosphere was great. Getting there at 6:30. The race was at 6:30. Got there at like 5:45, stretched out, just got the pre-race vibes going. Everyone's just jacked up. My first time ever trail racing, so everyone has their their packs on, and it's a different feel than a road race. Road race has those same jacked up vibes, but I feel like road racing is the need for speed, and there was definitely some speed goats in the ultra race I ran over the weekend, but it was a little different, but it was cool. Just had the pre-race, the pre-race jitters and the pre-race vibes going on, and it just took off. My goal was to average, 10-30 minute miles, and I was hoping to finish like within, 6 hours. That was my plan for my first ever attempt going over the half marathon distance. So, I'm not going out there to set course records. So to me, that was a good idea. I knew that, especially at the half marathon distance, I average about 9 minute miles right now, and probably could, do better. Now I'm trying to slowly learned, I'm no expert runner. I'm not a running influencer, just like sobriety. I know nothing about recovery or sobriety. I'm just a guy who's almost 1 year sober and been running for a year and figuring it out as I go along. So, just doing trial and error and doing what I feel is right, but mostly just going out there to enjoy it. So, I got out there, and the first 15 miles are not smooth, but were awesome. I just, kind of dialed in on my cadence, dialed in, that 10:30-ish where I wanted to be. I really just enjoyed it, you see my other videos. I checked in periodically the first few miles, got to the turnaround at mile 15, and, my ankles and my toe and my knee was kind of bothering me, so the factor, going into it that I didn't really think about was like, even though it was, a pretty packed and rocky course, like I've never really ran a trail race like that with rocks and just the different, surfaces and the different elevations. It wasn't a lot of climb, but just, my feet wasn't, hitting exactly even every time. So that just honestly beat me up. I got to mile 18, going on mile 20, and I just was like, man, I couldn't really put too much solid pressure on my right ankle, and my left big toe and top of my foot were just killing me. So basically the last 11-ish, 12-ish miles, I had to walk run what I could. So my goal time of 6 hours turned into 7 hours, which still ideally wasn't bad, but it was definitely a battle the last 12 miles. I spent a lot of time just, grinning and bearing and walking as fast as I could, and run when I could, and walk as fast as I could. And it was definitely a test, and I think is what I needed. I think maybe it was a sign from my higher power as a reminder, like, life gets easy sometimes, but then life gets really hard. Just like this past year in sobriety, life got really fun and easy when I got clear-minded, but life still was happening on life's terms, and the challenges of life are still happening. So, it's just a battle, man. So it was an emotional roller coaster. I was just up and down. My feet were obviously hurting me, but then I was just deep in thought and deep in the pain cave and deep in reflection. So other runners would pass me and they were like, dude, you all right? I was like, it's not the pain. It's just, the reflecting and the gratitude of where I am. I was grateful to be in that pain, so I just got through it, basically. As I got closer to the last half mile or so, I was texting my wife and letting her know I was getting closer. If you see my other videos, you can know that I finished with my daughter, and that was not planned. I knew my wife and my daughter and my mom would be at the finish line. So since I was a little delayed, they came a little closer to the wood line and where the trail began, and my daughter couldn't hold back anymore, so she ran with me, and that was awesome. So of course I was an emotional wreck, just overcome with knowing that I did something I wanted to do in this first year of sobriety. I'm getting emotional now, but I overcome something I want to do in this first year of sobriety, and I was just so grateful for my wife and my daughter. And then as I turned the corner, my wife had arranged all our friends to be there. All my friends were there. I had no clue. I was blindsided. So they were just cheering me on. And then my friends and my dad and people that couldn't make it, my wife arranged a Zoom call and was holding up the phone, and everyone watched me cross the finish line. And it was probably the greatest thing I've ever accomplished in my life. And it wouldn't be possible without the programs of recovery, without my higher power, and without the support I have. This last year has been very difficult, but it's been very rewarding. Doing the daily work required in the programs of recovery. I was able to see the promises. People that I hurt in the decades I battled my addictions were there supporting me, and it was just amazing, man. It was amazing. It's amazing what you can accomplish when you're clear-minded, when you give up, that one vice you had, that one problem. It was just so overwhelming, and I was so grateful. I'm so grateful now, and I just can't believe it. But yeah, I mean, it was a battle, but it was an awesome day. And like I said, I wouldn't be here without the programs of recovery, my higher power, and the support I have. So with that, though, I'm going to keep getting after this thing. Going to be back out running tomorrow. Like I said, I'm so grateful that I took part in the Dog Run Rail Trail 50K. It was held by Arsenal Events. The race director, Kristen, was amazing. So that was cool, but, I'm ready for the next one. So a couple weeks, I think I'm going to do the DC Half Marathon. I got the Marine Corps Marathon in October, but I don't know. I think I might be converted to a trail runner now too, but I don't know. We'll see what's next, because I'm just going to keep doing this thing one day at a time, 1 mile. I hope everyone can stay strong, find the resources they need in the programs of recovery if they're struggling, if they know someone's struggling. Just remember, we can do this thing together. 1 day, 1 mile, Sober Dad Run Club. I'm going to keep doing this thing, so let's do it together. See ya.